up? Welcome to Niles Junction. The Niles district of Fremont in the East Bay was where San Francisco was first connected to the rest of the country by rail when Southern Pacific completed their line through Niles Canyon in 1869. Today, Alameda Creek still flows past Niles Junction where three Union Pacific subdivisions meet. Waiting and waiting. The Niles sub comes down from Oakland, crossing the Oakland sub and veering west, and the Warm Springs sub branches south toward San Jose. The Altamont Corridor Express ACE trains run commuter service between Stockton and San Jose using the line Western Pacific built on the south side of Niles Canyon in 1905. But since it was a weekend, we had to hope that a less predictable UP freight would come through. Our wait paid off when UP 8190 rumbled down the Niles sub, pulling an empty auto rack. Behind the ES44 AC was UP 5296, a very dirty AC45 CCTE. Up the rear was UP 5418, another AC45 CCTE, as the train cleared the junction and disappeared down the Warm Springs sub. The next train to come through was westbound Capitol Corridor, heading from Sacramento to San Jose. It was pulled by Amtrak 145, a P-42DC, painted in the 40th anniversary paint scheme. Unlike the UP freight, this train continued on the Niles sub. There used to be a tower at the junction and a switchman to throw the switch that today had been thrown by remote control. Pretty soon, we saw that an eastbound Capitol Corridor was coming around the bend, being pushed by an F-59 PHI. wondering if we would see any more trains at the junction before heading over to ride the Niles Canyon Railway. Along came a GP40M-2 running light. UP 1530 turned out to be the shot of the day as it slowly rolled around the Niles sub and disappeared to the north. Niles Canyon Railway. Here we go. On weekends, the Niles Canyon Railway runs tourist operations between Niles and Sunol, using the original route that SP followed along the north side of Niles Canyon. Pulling the train on this day through Niles Canyon would be SP 1423 and EMD NW2. This is one of the first diesel switchers, and around 1,000 of them were manufactured between 1939 and when this unit was delivered to Southern Pacific in 1949. Next in line was ATSF 9261, a steel cupola caboose also manufactured in 1949. Then came a Pullman steel passenger coach, SP 1949. Manufactured in 1911, it's still in service 106 years later. Next was SP 6719, a 1962 baggage car that now houses a snack bar and bathrooms. Next came NCR 1830, an open observation car that started life in 1929 as a Santa Fe baggage car before being converted to a boom tender. And finally, bringing up the rear on the eastbound run between Niles and Sunol was SP 2101, another steel passenger coach built by Pullman in 1924. Like SP 1949, this car was originally used for commuter service between San Francisco and San Jose by Southern Pacific. This track was originally laid in 1869, just a few months after the driving of the Golden Spike completed the Transcontinental Railway as far as Sacramento. The route crosses Alameda Creek 3 times, and while the bridges themselves have been rebuilt, the concrete abutments date back to the original construction. They would fare better than the road and the storm that was to come the next day that wound up closing Highway 84.
Bright yellow flowers are wild mustard. Because of our warm spring, the wildflowers are blooming a little earlier this year than usual. Come back and ride with us into March, beginning of April, and you can see some truly spectacular wildflower displays in Niles Canyon.
As we approached the yard, we saw a pair of Jeeps, Western Pacific GP7 number 713 and Southern Pacific GP9 number 5623, both built in the mid-1950s. At Sunol, 1423 ran around the train on siding to pull it back to Niles rather than pushing all those old cars. "1423 served Southern Pacific from its delivery in 1949 until being retired in 1986 and was restored for use on the Niles Canyon Railway in the year 2000, repainted in its original black and orange tiger stripe paint scheme. Locomotive Association that runs the Niles Canyon Railway built their yard in the site of an old quarry. It now houses not only their own collection, but also the rolling stock of the Golden Gate Railway Museum, which was moved from San Francisco's Hunters Point shipyard in 2007. So there are a lot of projects sitting out in various stages of restoration. One of the projects is ATMSF number 505, a stainless steel pleasure dome car built by Coleman in 1950 that was part of the Super Chief pool for 20 years. The two Jeeps at the front of the yard reminded us of their important role in revolutionizing diesel locomotive design in the 1950s. They replaced the streamlined car body design with its poor rear visibility and cramped engine maintenance space with the more functional hood unit design that's characterized American locomotives ever since. When we heard the locomotive blowing its air horn incessantly, we looked forward to see that it was due to a flock of wild turkeys on the tracks, who seemed to think that the train should go around them. When the cars on the highway were just as uncooperative as the locomotive, one turkey even took flight in a last-ditch effort to try to make the train yield. you ever ride the Niles Canyon Railway yourself, be sure to visit the Niles Depot Model Railroads and Museum, located across the tracks in the old passenger and freight depots. As passengers boarded for the next run to Sunol, we headed north to other railfanning hotspots such as Jack London Square, Emeryville, and the Carquinez Mile Railroad Club in Crockett that we'll show you in part 2 of Railfanning the Bay Area.